Hello, everyone. My name is Dominic.
And I'm Parker.
And welcome to
Craft Brews and Tons of Cartoons.
Just a couple dudes sipping brews, talking tunes. If you're listening to us right now, you're probably listening to us at youtube.com/Dominic Malner. That is me currently speaking. If you like what you hear, if you like what we're talking about, definitely smash that like button, share it to all your friends, and definitely hit that subscribe button. If you like what we do, we would really appreciate it, and it really helps the show.
If you're not listening to us on YouTube, maybe you're listening to us on mixcloud.com/cband2cpod. If you are, make sure you star us, maybe share us, follow the channel, and maybe, if you run a blog, embed us so your followers can listen to the sweet sounds of our sultry voices.
Yes, the sweet sounds of our sultry voices, Parker, indeed. We thank you so much for listening to the pod. The first pod was called Final Space, ... Y. You can definitely check it out at both Mixcloud and YouTube to check out our very first episode. It was a lot of fun doing it. We want to continue this. We are so passionate about this project.
Yeah, we got a really good reception that first episode.
And we're going to talk about that in a quick second. But to show you and tell you what we're going to do in this episode, it's a new segment/show that we're going to plan on doing for the remainder of the podcast. It's called Retro versus Reboot. Now, obviously, a reboot is something that is happening a lot now in animation, in television in general. And so we want to look at the original source materials of cartoons that we loved or that we knew of as a child, and we are going to revisit that and look at the reboots and compare them in both animation, tone, style, everything. And this week, we're going to do Thundercats. Ho! Yeah. Before we talk about all that and get to everything, we got to give a shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, the Gary. And by that, we mean Olin Rogers, the creator of Final Space. Now, the reason I say that is last week, 2 weeks ago, when we were first sharing the pod to people, I'm the only one here with Twitter. And I knew that if I tagged Olin in the tweet, that it might be able to get more of a response, right? So what I did was I tweeted Olin. I was like, everyone listen to the show. It's here on Mixcloud, because it was first on Mixcloud before we put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I also...
I was almost late to work that day putting it on.
Well, you did your job.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did.
And what I did at the end of the tweet saying that you should listen to it, I tagged Olin. I was like, Olin, we really love your show. Now, I just thought, that'd be good. Hopefully it'll get more of a response because I tagged Olin in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally, I used all the characters I could to put in. And then 20 minutes later, after I get home from Costco, I see a notification and it says Olin Rogers replied. And I was like, okay, what? And it was actually him. It showed the blue verified, and he said, like, this is so good. I love the honesty, and we're going to try and send you some early episodes in the next coming season. And I was freaking out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was working when I saw that, and I thought I was having a panic attack.
Yeah, when I texted you, I was just everyone in the house, it was my mom and my dad, and I was just like, holy crap, this is happening. And my dad was super confused by it. I tried to explain to him 3 times what it was about. I said, the creator of the show saw my tweet and replied to it. And for some reason, he did not get that. Shout out to my dad. Mm-hmm. But it was insane just seeing that. And it just made me want to do another podcast.
Yeah, it's like, it is really affirming to see that kind of response. And the response of all you out there who got back to us really quick about the first episode. It's really affirming to see that kind of response. It really hits home that people are listening to you and are taking interest in what in the kind of content you're putting out.
And it's just reassuring that they're also giving us criticism. Yeah. We've heard the criticism, and we always want to improve the show no matter what. So we thank you so much for giving your honest opinion. Even Olin gave us kind of an honest opinion, saying that he really appreciated our honesty. And he's going to try and send us early season 2 episodes. Olin, I haven't received them yet, but you're a busy guy. So
just Good luck. We're pulling for you for the season premiere, the season 2 premiere, man.
And he's also pitching that other show, Lions Guard.
Yeah.
Put me on the show. I'll be a voice, please, for the love of God. I'm a voice actor, everybody, please. But yeah, now is our next segment.
The beer of the pod.
Beer of the pod. Parker, you brought in the beer today. What's our beer today?
Our beer today is the Pulaski Pils by Maplewood Brewery and Distillery. It's going to be a Chicago-style Pilsner. It's named after Casimir Pulowski, a Polish-American hero of the American Revolution and one of the fathers of the United States Cavalry.
Hell yeah. Merc. Let's pull out these beers, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So they're going to be in cans. Also, if you're listening to us and you want to check us out on Untapped, it's pretty easy. Link is going to be in the description of both videos, so I'm not going to try and say the username, but definitely follow us there. We would appreciate it. 3, 2, 1. Nice.
Yes.
Let's get this
flowing.
All right. I like how the can specifically shows what's in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of. What do you mean?
If you look at it, says balanced rich grain, floral finish. It shows the grain, the hops, the vitals. On this side, the beef.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw that. That looked really cool when I saw the can at Lucas.
Nice. Sweet. You ready?
Yeah.
Ready to clink it?
Yeah.
Clink it. Sink it. I'm going to need another do-over. I got a lot of head in that.
Yeah, that was...
No
like
sex jokes.
Looked like you were... Yeah, you looked like you were channeling my grandfather there. He kind of just pours it, like, not tipped into the glass.
Well, I was tipping it, but I like to give a good heady foam to it, so...
Yeah, that's fair.
What's your first impressions, man?
I really like it. It's got a good... it's very balanced, and it says that on the material as well, but it really is a very strong balance. It's got a good hop, but it has pretty good maltiness to it, but the hop finish really helps give it a good edge. It's not... It doesn't kind of relax you too much.
Yeah. It's soothing for me, I guess. The past few days for Father's Day, me and my dad went to Brew Lab.
Oh, nice.
And they're all about experimental over there.
Oh, yeah.
Literally.
Oh, yeah.
So this is just kind of a nice palate cleanser a little bit. Just nice to have. Simple, easy. It's got slight hop to it, but it's not overpowering. It's just like so far we've had very light hoppy beers.
I think for next episode we might do something a little heavier, but I definitely didn't want to go too heavy for the second episode.
Well, next episode we're gonna have to pair it real well.
Oh yeah,
for sure. But I like it. And why did we choose this beer specifically?
Well, for a few reasons. For one, so I was actually at Lucas the other day because we were kind of having a hard time finding a good cat themed beer.
It's really hard.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it would be, but it is. So
especially in Kansas, apparently.
Yeah, but we lucked out because Maplewood Brewery and Distillery is now distributing into Kansas, and I got to meet one of their promoters when they're kind of just offering this stuff when I was at the Lucas, and I saw the can, and the can on it is it's kind of a lion, feline-looking emblem wearing a crown.
It's literally Lion-O.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
basically is Lion-O.
Yeah, so it was like perfect. And what's funny about this brewery specifically is that for the past like few weeks, I've been getting Instagram ads constantly. We're coming to Kansas, and it was Maplewood. Funny how that works out.
Yeah, I think literally speaking, I think that's what they call foreshadowing.
Oh my gosh, too much foreshadowing. But so far, how would you rate this beer? You're probably going to see the rating if you follow us on Untapped. If you don't, it's okay. We're going to tell you what we feel about it. Out of 5.
Solid 4. Solid 4 for what it is.
Solid 4. Okay, solid 4. I'll clink to that. One last clink.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now for our next part of the podcast. We want to try and stay as current as possible. And there are a few new episodes that came out these past few weeks. It's going to be kind of like a book club thing. We're going to call it Show Club for now. We'll think of a better name
soon.
And if you have ideas for names, that'd be helpful as well.
Yeah, please.
So what was convenient, we're recording tonight on Monday, June 17th. Thank you, Parker. And the premiere of Amphibia, the newest Disney Channel original cartoon by Matt Braley is premiering tonight on television. But what was cool is that Matt Braley and Disney Channel decided we're going to put the first episode on YouTube and on Disney Now, and it was able to stream, and we were able to see it right before the premiere, and we're going to just give you our initial thoughts, and I really like it.
I liked it too.
There's such a youthfulness to it. It's just like something we haven't seen. It's not like disturbing, yet it's not disturbing.
It's like, it's still kind of a kid show, but it's definitely like a weighty, full kid show. Kind of like you use like a beer analogy. It's got a good body to it that really helps. That really kind of doesn't make it too light. Doesn't make it a little too easy watching.
I mean, you kind of get what the show's kind of gonna be when you first see the town.
Yeah.
Because you see like that butcher chop off the leg and they just crawls and breaks into a window. And then you see these two frogs trying to like kiss, and then a huge ass dragonfly takes them away. And everyone's just like cool about it. They're just like
conditioned to accept danger.
Yeah. I really like the little things in the show so far.
Definitely.
Like I like the mayor.
Mayor's funny.
I like the one guy who was, what was his name? The guy that got captured.
Oh yeah, I don't remember his name either.
He was British.
Yeah, he's like got this like weird Cockney accent that
it's like Cockney,
no one
but
else...
it's also he like goes in and out of Cockney in like a regular accent.
Maybe it's Australian.
Might be.
One thing I really liked about it is that they do a good job like implying things.
Oh my god.
But they don't make it super mystery box. Like you can kind of like glean what they're talking about. And they don't need to outright say it, but you can still get the picture.
Honestly, my favorite part of the premiere was the second episode, and seeing the dynamic of Anne and how I don't want to spoil too much, but you kind of see what her friends were like in the real world and how she thinks friendship is.
Yeah, you definitely get that kind of like, okay, here's why this character's a little
weird.
Yeah, a little not right in the head. And that the super adventurous frog is kind of the normal one.
Yeah, and I found that so cool because you see it a lot in regular television, but through an animated character's perspective and seeing it through someone who just, it seems as though she was just trying to be popular and trying to just fit in. Right, even though it's generally, they're probably really good friends, but...
Yeah, I definitely got the impression that these are going to be like, they're not mean girls.
Yeah.
The friends aren't.
But they have mean girl qualities.
They seem like the girls at the all-girls school who, like, were sent there against, like, because they were kind of problem children.
You know, they might be from an all-girls school.
Yeah, because they have that whole, like, school uniform thing going on.
Or it's like a boarding school.
Yeah.
Something like that.
No mention of their parents yet.
So far, I'm really excited about it, and I've seen a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff about like who Anne is, and the voice acting is fantastic. You can kind of just see the talent. You hear the talent immediately. Brenda Song has such a interesting voice. It's not like I wouldn't expect that from that character, but it totally fits. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
because she sounds way older than she should.
Yeah, but she also like it sounds older, but it definitely sounds like it fits the character.
The tadpole.
Oh yeah,
she's
the
funny.
Sister. Yeah, that. I like her too much.
She's gonna be good. But overall,
don't make me use old Doris here.
You're not gonna kill us, are you? Nope.
Not even a little bit.
I love it. I gotta say, Matt Braley, good start. Continue what you're doing. Don't just last 4 seasons like every other Disney Channel cartoon. But so I'm gonna talk about The Secret Life of Pets 2. We were planning on seeing it, but I was the only one who saw it, and it's okay, Parker. You didn't have to see it. Now, me saying that doesn't mean it was a bad film per se. For me, it was a pretty good show, pretty good movie. I had a good time watching it. I was in the theater alone with Alina. No one was there, and what was weird about this theater, it has a playground in it. So
what?
I know. It's the B&B theaters. They've been doing remodeling, and they have this new thing called, like, Theater and Play. So it's something where you can bring your kids in.
But aren't the kids just supposed to
No,
sit there.
no, 30 minutes early to do like a little fun activity. It has like like the McDonald's play place?
Yeah.
There's basically one at the very side of it, so kids can play there, and there's like a thing going on for 30 minutes, trivia and stuff. It was really weird. But
so it's like when you get to the theater early.
so it's like
they're
an
just not
easy way
fidgeting,
to like
okay.
get all the energy out of the kids before the movie.
You know, actually, that's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
But they lock it up like before the movie starts.
Yeah.
So it was cool. That was probably the most interesting part of the experience. But there's nothing coherently wrong with the film. It's just, and I might get a lot of flack for saying this, but as much as I think Patton Oswalt is a really great voice actor, and he's done a lot in this industry, and he's made a name for himself, and he's one of my favorites to hear in any cartoon. But when you're trying to replace Louis C.K., who was the previous voice of the main character, Louis C.K. somehow portrayed what a dog would sound like from like hearing him talk like a human would.
Okay.
He had this kind of just overall, he has this voice like you could definitely think that it's like Doug.
Yeah.
Where Doug had the perfect voice of a dog, like with a human voice.
Yeah.
Louis C.K. was like Doug-like, but maybe even better. And Patton Oswalt, when you hear him say it, he did an okay job, but you didn't really feel like this is a dog saying it. It's just like, oh, it's Patton Oswalt saying it. Everyone else was okay, and I mean, it was pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like amazing, and Illumination Studios recently hasn't really been killing it.
But they've been doing all right.
Yeah, and you shouldn't really, hate a company for making children's films that are specifically for children.
Yeah.
Like, they have some, like, animation now for movies. They try to make as many adult jokes in it as possible so that the adults will enjoy it. But for something like Illumination Studios, not really.
Yeah.
What have you been watching for current episodes for the show?
Yeah, I've been keeping up with Archer 1999. Last week was a return to form in the kind of old school Archer sense. It was definitely felt like more season 4, season 6 episode. It was pretty funny and definitely kind of returned to that style of comedy. It was good. Also been watching Attack on Titan season 3 part 2. That's really enjoyable.
That's good. I've read a lot of the manga before it, so I know, I kind of have an idea. It's been a while since I've read the manga for it. Sometimes, like, I just get so impatient on what's going to happen next that I just read that instead.
Yeah,
it's kind of like
I get that.
It's kind of what's cool about anime is what makes like the confusing parts in manga that they draw. It makes it so much clearer.
Yeah, I can definitely see how it's like supposed to flow through.
Because I remember reading the Naruto chapters during the end of Naruto and see all what was going on and be like, what the hell's going on? And then the anime makes it way much more sense. Like, what's happening here? I've been watching Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
How's that going?
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
There's something about the derpy comedy nowadays that just kind of tickles me a little bit.
That's the one where Raphael's the leader, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it weird?
It's not weird. He's not like, he's tough, but he's not like super tough.
Okay.
He's into R&B music.
I don't know why, but that really works for some reason.
But all the characters are mostly urban sound, so it's mainly played by black voice actors, except for like Ben Schwartz, who's Leonardo, and he does a really cool, like, Ben Schwartz's voice.
Yeah, I know Ben Schwartz's voice.
He's just really has that kind of like sarcastic yet cool kind of voice to him. And then I forget the voice of Donatello, but he's in a lot of new stuff now. And I think the main criticism that the show gets is that the brothers kind of act the same, yet they have different personalities.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like Teen Titans Go in a way.
Okay.
They're comparing it a lot to Teen Titans Go, since Teen Titans Go is just like kid gags. But the animation for Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is literally insane. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
Like, the action scenes are incredible. No, like seriously.
I like me some good animated
Dude,
action scenes.
but it's like anime-esque. It's like Fooly Cooley kind of shit.
Don't tempt me.
No, dude, you should
Don't
check it out. It's what's
Old
cool.
school Gynax.
What's really cool about Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is that the voice director is Rob Paulson.
No kidding.
He was the one who chose the specific voice actors.
He was like half the Ninja Turtles, though, right?
Yeah, he was Raphael in the first, and then in the third iteration with Nickelodeon, the 3D run, he was Donatello. And I actually prefer him as Donatello now.
Really?
Yeah. But we can talk about that in another huge episode if we do it.
Yeah, I think that would be some. That'd be a
We would
really
need 2 more
intensive
people.
research. Yeah.
But let's go to our next segment. Good evening, I'm Tom Tucker.
And I'm Tim Lockjaw.
And this is the news, animation news. Tom, Lockjaw, what do you got in the news today?
Well, Tom, we kind of screwed ourselves because NSC International Animated Film Festival was this past week. So now I know what it feels like to be a game journalist during E3. Yeah, there's actually a lot of news to go through real quick.
There's so much news today.
Yeah, let's
This week.
one of the big pieces out of Annecy was the result of the Increasing Inclusion in Animation study, which was a quantitative look on how women are being incorporated into the animation business. Here are a few it was a really big study, and there were a lot of findings for it. And we're going to have the links to a couple of articles to it in the show notes if you guys are really interested in it. But here are just kind of a few of the bigger points. They found that women are definitely in a minority in the animation business as they kind of go up the ladder. Most of the jobs tend to be in management, which is not unusual it's kind of normal to have that figure in pretty much industries across the board.
Yeah.
Cool thing though is about half of animation executives and 37% of animation film producers are women, compared to 15% in live action films. However, only 5% of producers are women of color. It's less. In terms of creative side, only 7% of heads of story, 8% of animation heads, 14% of art directors, and 16% of animation directors, and just kind of that level of leadership in the industry are women. Those are kind of the big ones to pull from.
Yeah.
Again, we'll have this stuff in the show notes, and it'll go into much bigger detail. Like this was like, we would have to actually devote an episode just talking about this to really get into it.
Well, it's good that more women are getting more representation in animation and climbing up the ladder. I know right now in today's age that women empowerment is really important. For me personally, when it comes to like that kind of situation, if you're perfect for the job, you deserve the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's starting to show that these women are way more creative than what people in the past have thought. And it's good to give them that chance.
Indeed. And the couple of the people who put the group that did this in conjunction with a I think it was a stats department at a college, at a university. The group was Women of Animation, and I think their goal is to try and get about 50-50 in terms of animation leadership, in terms of gender disparity.
Yeah.
By 2025. So
Well, that's good.
Good luck out there.
Yeah, just our advice to you, if we can even give advice, just keep working hard.
Yeah, I mean,
that's literally what you got to do nowadays, especially in today's climate where it seems like younger people don't want to work hard and they want it like super easy. Just keep working hard. You'll get what's coming for you, and not in the bad way.
Yeah.
And there's been a bunch of great female creators out there. I mean, Darren Nefsey, she made Star vs. Force of Evil, and it was a huge hit. The person who made Pepper Ann, I like Pepper Ann. You remember Pepper Ann, right?
I actually did not watch
Pepper Ann. What?
I did not watch Pepper
You didn't watch Pepper Ann?
I did not, unfortunately.
Oh, God. Pepper Ann was made by a woman, and I love that show. And then, I mean, obviously, the creator of Steven Universe. For some reason, her name is Rebecca Sugar. Duh.
Okay.
She's made an Empire based on that, kind of.
And good for.
I mean, she has a movie coming out.
Yeah, good for her about that.
Oh,
That
I
was
saw
announced.
an announcement for that,
Yeah.
and I'll just talk about it briefly. For their movie that they're putting on Cartoon Network, it's going to be a lot of mainstream artists that will write songs for it, including Chance the Rapper.
Ooh.
So Exciting times for the Steven Universe crew. What else do we got, Tom?
Toei Animation has announced its 100-year anime project, which is a contest to create an anime that will continue for the next 100 years. It will involve participants submitting proposals for an anime project in one of 4 courses. The first course is from those who are not working with no experience working in the industry. B course is those with experience and have detailed proposals that can start production soon. C course is for proposals of a remake of the 1975 anime Ekyu-san. And D course, which is for experienced support staff like animators, background artists, and prop designers. There are some pretty good cash prizes. Like first prize for the categories is 1 million yen, which is actually really only $9,000. You know, pretty good.
I
Pretty
could
good
use
money.
$9,000.
I could also use $9,000. Toei representative director Katsuhiro Takagi says that Toei Animation hopes this contest will create more novel anime projects. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, you were talking...
Takagi.
Yes.
Katsuhiro Takagi.
Yes.
Yay. That's awesome.
Yeah,
and
good
what's
for them.
cool about that is that situation kind of reminds me of how like manga's created in a way, but not really like a contest. So I read this manga, which I've probably talked to you about, called Bakuman.
Yeah.
And it's basically an anime.
It's a manga about
it's a manga
making
about
manga.
Making manga.
Yeah, it's by the same guy that made Death Note.
Yeah, it's fantastically drawn, and it goes into the process of that. And what would happen is to get like that kind of push for Jump is by going through these contests. So artists would submit their work. The editors or like managers of said product would submit that to the contest, and then voters for the weekly Jump would vote for which one they liked the most. And if it was a hit, they would definitely go through not production, but what are we going to do to pitch to the actual Jump to make sure it's on the magazine. So this reminds me of that. And I mean, good luck to everyone out there trying to do it. Anime is an extremely interesting art, and what I really commend anime for doing is continuing the art of 2D animation.
Definitely.
I mean,
it's starting to make a bit of a comeback here as well, and we welcome animation in all different kinds of forms, but we certainly have a special spot in our... We don't want 2D animation to go away.
2D animation is... And the thing is about 2D animation is what we grew up on it.
Yeah.
All the Disney movies that we loved, every hand-drawn animation cartoon, we just love that style. And there's something about the current 3D animation that it's not great and not beautiful, but there's something about that hard work you get from making it yourself through hand-drawn animation, and seeing how long it took and seeing how detailed it is. It just shows kind of the beauty of, you know, the human spirit in a way.
Yeah. And we should definitely be like supporting like different styles of animation that fit the art and the story and the kind of thing they're trying to create, and not narrow down our styles just because one is more convenient over the other.
Yeah, because the main reason is that it's like cost effective, and it's trying to be more modern for 3D animation. 3D animation is out there a lot because, one, it's easier to budget, it's easier to make, but 2D animation, there's just something about that youthfulness about it. It's like when you watch a Looney Tunes cartoon for the first time, and you're like, holy crap. It's like crazy yet beautiful in a way.
All right, so real quick, let's run down through some series announcements.
Yeah.
And just get like a couple words each from us about each of them. All right. First off, Amazon showing off their new original animated series, Undone. Got that kind of trippy look, rotoscope look. They got producers are by BoJack Horseman. The team that worked on it did A Scanner Darkly, and Bob Odenkirk is in it.
Bob Odenkirk is great as an actor and as a comedian. I have a good vibe about this. It's really trippy. We're going to put the link of the trailer in the description, so definitely check that out. What else you got?
Netflix has announced Season 2 renewal of Love, Death, and Robots. They're also going to bring on Jennifer Yo Nelson, director of Kung Fu Panda 2 and 3, as supervising director.
Holy shit. I love those movies. I haven't seen Love, Death, and Robots yet. I know you keep telling me to watch it. I will watch it. I promise. I'm going to watch it before the next podcast. I promise.
Awesome. They also announced Fast and Furious Spy Racers and Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts.
What? Fast and the Furious has an animated series?
Yeah, it's about...
it's Dominant.
No, it's about his cousin. I think it's like a kind of a mix of like older age spy kids and Fast and Furious.
Whoa.
Vin Diesel will be a producer on it, and I think some of the folks who did the movies are going to be kind of on the producer side.
Dude, that's cool.
For that show. I saw a trailer for Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts. It looks really cool.
Nice.
Shorts are back on Nickelodeon with the new Intergalactic Shorts program, which is trying to cultivate animation talent from across the world. One of the producers is going to be Conrad Vernon of Sausage Party and the Addams Family fame.
Dude, that's cool. See, what was cool about the Nicktoons shorts that they used to put on, it literally just showed what was going to happen with the next few years. Because Adventure Time had a short on Nickelodeon, and guess where it went? It went to Cartoon Network, and it was a huge hit. So it's going to show what's going to happen in the future, and it's really exciting. Also, I recommend people to go onto YouTube and check out Cartoon Network LA. They got tons of like shorts and pilots of cartoons like that I've never seen before, and I've watched this one called Villainous. It's about
Villainous, yeah.
That
is interesting. It's good. It's real
I love
interesting.
the animation style of it.
And it's got like this really old school, like early 2000s sense of humor that Cartoon Network kind of had.
Yeah. Also, real quick, this isn't news really, but I saw this like amazing clip on Twitter. It's a Cartoon Network commercial, all right? But it was aired on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Only on Nickelodeon, only once. And what happens is the entire screen is orange because it's Nickelodeon. And Double D and Johnny Bravo come in, and Double D's trying to explain to everyone that they should like check out Cartoon Network, Cartoon Fridays, and it's really hilarious. And then like he's like, "We gotta go." And it's like, check it out right here. And then someone's like, "Hurry!" And he's like, "Oh!" And it's awesome.
That's
I love it.
Brainzoo Studios, who's done animation for Mortal Kombat 11, Borderlands 3, and COD Black Ops 4, have announced that they're going to do an animated adaptation of the report of the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election.
I find this really odd.
Yeah, they're doing an animated version of the Mueller report. It's
Is it going to be like a comedy, or is it going to be more of a serious thing?
I think it's going to be like edutainment.
So it's going to be like...
I think it's going to be like a slightly darker version of the Schoolhouse Rock episode about how a bill is passed. I will say the concept, they had like a bit of concept art for it on the announcement and looked pretty good. As well, they got John D. Dominico, who's basically someone who portrays Donald Trump's likeness, and he's been portraying him since 2004. So they got someone who's kind of like can nail the
Donald
kind
Trump.
of, yeah.
I guess, so I don't really like politically
charged stuff.
media. So like, you've heard the show Our Cartoon President?
Yeah, my dad, I watched a couple of episodes with my dad. It was a very odd...
It's not really
a show.
funny.
It's a different kind of thing. But I think at the same point, this thing is not supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be... It is supposed to be kind of entertaining. I think there will be a humor element, but it is really supposed to explain what the findings of the report. Because the report's about 400 pages, which is about the length of a novel, like a not short novel. And not everyone has time to read it. And I'm kind of paraphrasing what the announcements were saying for it, and they feel like it'd be a good way to kind of explain what is in the report. Yeah. Which, I don't disagree with them on the sheer concept of them doing something like that. And I think that using animation as a tool to educate is definitely something that can be done. It should be utilized a bit more.
Yeah, it's an easy, like, Schoolhouse Rock helped me learn the preamble.
Yeah, I mean, I think most Americans know the preamble through Schoolhouse Rock.
We the people in order to form a more perfect union. Establish justice and ensure domestic tranquility.
Are we gonna like get slapped with a copyright if we get that?
Probably.
I mean, it's
We're
a public it's a public document.
I mean, we're not demonetized because we don't make any money off these anyway. So,
Yeah. All right, real quick. Frozen 2 trailer.
hell yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it looked
my
good.
response.
Yeah, I like the darker fantasyness of it.
I'm just excited to know what's gonna happen, but I'm super confused by it too.
Yeah.
Because I really liked the very first trailer they showed, where there was like no talking anything, and then in this one the troll shows up, and he's like, your powers are great, but they're bad, and it's like, didn't we already talk about this?
Yeah, there's a little something else going on. Something else will go on in here about the fact that this random princess has superpowers.
And then she sees like this elk,
He was magic.
a water elk. What is this, Harry Potter?
Oh yeah, the Patronus. Yeah. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. Leave me alone.
I'm not a Harry Potter fan either, but I know
It definitely looks weird, but I do like the atmosphere of it.
I kind of like the warmthness of it.
I like the darker, more I like the aesthetic of the TV show Vikings. I'm a little iffy about the show itself, but I like the aesthetic of it, and it's really cool that there's more fantasy properties that are doing that. Also, the God of War for the PS4. Yeah, not like that kind of similar, darker, more Nordic atmosphere.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be good. I'm really excited for it. I know it's gonna be good. They already probably have amazing songs. They're gonna just stream the airwaves, but it's not gonna be as great as Frozen.
Is Radio Disney still a thing?
I think so. I mean, they have a YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, probably. All right, you ready for this?
Okay. This is the segment. This is the show. This is Retro versus Reboot. This episode, we mentioned it earlier, but it's going to be about Thundercats.
Ho. Yeah, we're going to talk about the original 1985 series that premiered, and we're also going to compare it to the 2011 version that came out on Cartoon Network.
The Reboot. And there's a ton of differences for it. So the very first Thundercats Season 1 is 65 episodes long. And the Thundercats Reboot, it only had one season. I mean, it was divided into 2 seasons, but it was only 1 season.
Yeah, there was some
DVD.
weird executiveness going on there. But basically, we decided we don't have time to watch that much.
Yeah, so we just picked specific episodes from each series and comparing the style, the tone, the animation, overall quality of the show. And yeah, we're just going to compare each of the first seasons. For me, I'm going to just start off with the original Thundercats with the overall tone. The main difference between these two shows, the Reboot and the original source material, is their styles are completely different.
Yeah, they were a lot more different than I was expecting, and in ways that I didn't think that they would make it different.
So you can definitely tell what type of show Thundercats in the 80s was. It's a Saturday morning cartoon.
/ toy commercial.
Yeah. And that's what, all the 80s was.
Yeah, there was a deregulation in what people could put out on what can be on children's television, and a lot of toy companies got in on that to help with merchandising for all these shows, getting those Star Wars dollars.
The one thing I got from the original is that the theme song is fire.
Yeah, the theme song's good.
It's to me, it's now getting at DuckTales theme annoyance, where
that is I think Thundercats is like the 80s kid equivalent to the DuckTales theme.
Yeah, but I feel
just not as singable.
I feel like more people mentioned the Transformers theme song or He-Man way more than Thundercats. This past week, I was just when I was bored or when I was at work, I'm just like, thunder, 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 Thundercats.
Let's go into this real quick. So I kind of went through the episode list for both these shows, and I picked out, I think, about 12 episodes per season, and I tried to get them to kind of mesh in well. Shows that looked like they were about similar things, but did them differently. And real quick, I used this article that I found on Den of Geek by Michael S. Mamano.
We're going to put it in the description, by the way.
Yeah, we'll have it in the description. Called Thundercats, The Essential Episodes. It's a pretty good guide if you're maybe a little trepidatious about getting into the original Thundercats, and definitely kind of shows out the best that series has to offer. So if you are a huge Thundercats fan, or if you're not, here are the episodes that we watched in preparation for this. For the 1985 series, we did Exodus, Unholy Alliance, Bear Bills, The Ghost Warrior, Return to Thundera, Trouble with Thunder Kittens, the 5-part episode series of Liono's
Anointment.
Thank you. I had Ascension. I don't know why I put that. And Fond Memories.
Okay, and for the 2011 series, we looked at Omens, Part 1 and Part 2, which is basically the premiere of the 2011 show. Legacy, Bearables, The Trials of Lion-O, Part 1 and 2, The Pit, Curse of Ratilia, Birth of the Blades, The Forever Bag, and What Lies Above, Part 1 and Part 2. Now, I will tell you, Parker, I didn't watch the Kid Cat one in the first show.
Yeah,
because it wasn't on your original list.
Shoot, maybe I did forget to put that in there.
But it's okay. Don't worry about it. I get the general vibe already. So, what's cool about the original is I kind of like the animation style a little bit. It's not as flowing as what the new one is, but
it's still really good.
It's definitely anime inspired, even like before anime got like really huge. And I don't even know if the creators were trying to go for that look.
Well, so I do have a bit on that. So the production company for it, for Thundercats on the American side, is Rankin Bass.
Mm-hmm.
Their probably most famous thing was the original Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer Christmas special. Yeah, the stop motion one. That was their first big project.
Whoa.
Yeah. In terms of their 2D animation, they are well known for doing The Hobbit and The Return of the King, which were kind of the Tolkien adaptations before the Peter Jackson
That makes
ones.
so much sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of see it in the art style.
Like I can see it. Like I can visualize it. That's insane.
It is. Now, here's where it gets even crazier.
All right.
The animation studio was actually a Japanese studio.
What?
It was Topcraft, who did Nausicaa Valley of the Wind and Macross Do You Remember Love? And they've actually did a bunch of the 2D animated Rankin Bass projects.
Whoa.
Yeah. Really good pedigree.
Nausicaa. Well, holy shit.
But wait, there's more.
God damn. What else?
So, in June 1985, the year Thundercats originally came out, Topcraft actually ended up dissolving into 2 pieces. The first piece became Pacific Animation Corporation, which continued doing Thundercats. And I think it was like Silverhawks, another kind of similar show to Thundercats.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, Pacific Animation Corporation became Disney Animation Japan.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The hell's going on here?
And it gets better, it gets even better.
There's more?
The other half, which included the following employees: Toshio Suzuki, Isao Takahata, and Hayao Miyazaki, formed Studio Ghibli.
What the
Yeah.
You almost got me there.
Yeah.
Parker.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. It turns out Thundercats 1985, really good pedigree.
They had like, my God, if you think about that, I can't even fathom the words to how amazing that team is.
Yeah. Like, it just like, what? I saw this and I was like, God, no wonder this is good.
Like all 80s cartoons, sometimes it just seems like a little like repetitive and slow animation a little bit, but it doesn't it doesn't take away from the story at all.
No, it does not. It really, honestly, I mean, I noticed some animation flubs, and I only watched I didn't watch too many episodes. I actually did watch a few more episodes than the ones we listed, probably to my detriment.
Yeah.
But I rarely saw really not good parts. Like I saw like one pretty serious flub, but that was about it.
Yeah, I really liked the opening itself. The animation for that is just beautiful. Like what's perfect about the theme song and the intro is you get what the show is about immediately. It's just badass kittens fighting evil, and it's awesome. What stinks about the reboot is they kind of just do the title card and the like and it's
main couple of like the first like maybe 2 measures of the theme, which is okay. I don't think they could really top the other
sucks.
one.
But
Yeah.
a lot of reboots kind of do that, though.
Yeah, I mean with the intro that good, I don't think they could really try to. I think not trying not to surpass it was or match it was might have been a good move.
Yeah, because you definitely didn't want it to be the exact same, because it would have taken away. But there are some shows that like recreate the theme and somehow sounds just as good.
Mm.
What I really saw the difference between is that though the original had some mature themes, the reboot was like extremely mature.
Yeah, it went full. It went a bit darker with everything.
All right, so let's just talk about the main like story differences from the beginning. Like it's so different
Yeah.
from each other. So in the original 85, the Thunderians are on the spaceship.
Yeah, or like in a fleet of spaceships escaping their planet that blows up like within 3 minutes of the episode starting.
With no context whatsoever of why it's blowing up.
I think it's like it's the Krypton syndrome.
Stupid.
It's gotta blow up to get the story to start.
That threw me off like as soon as I was watching it.
But then the first, and then the mutants attack and they destroy pretty much the rest of the fleet. So for the first season, we kind of establishes early on for the first season at least, the Thundercats that show up are like kind of the last of their people.
Yeah.
Anyway, then the Thundercats fight him off. The 12-year-old, still like a boy, Lion-O, gets his whole like charge of here's a sort of omens. Here's like you are now going to be in charge of the Thundercats, and we're going to help you, make you into a great leader. And then it goes into they go to cryosleep. They crash on Third Earth. Jaga dies and like trying to do it, but then he becomes Obi-Wan Kenobi. Does a whole spiritual advisor
like the
thing
entire time.
Yeah, and then they crash on Third Earth, which is basically just Earth, but I guess like in the future. And then they become Lion-O is now a boy because there was a malfunction in the cryopod.
Lion-O's a man.
Yeah, and Lion-O is a man now.
Yeah. Which he still has the mind of a child, though.
A little bit, like early on, but then he kind of really embraces the fact that he's now got to be the grown up. In the
He
situation.
grows up really fast.
Yeah, it's a little forced, but I think the fact that there's this hero's journeyness to it, and just his eagerness and his good-hearted nature really help demonstrate that he's really embracing him going into being the Lord of the Thundercats, Ho. But at the same time, it distributes that he is still kind of learning, and he is taking it seriously.
So, and the main difference between that and the reboot starts like way differently. Thundera is a kingdom. You see Lion-O's father.
Played by the guy who voiced Lion-O in the original.
Which is really cool. And its entire kingdom, you see like all the Thunderians, you see the mutants that are in the original.
And they're like all animals at this point. They're different species of like anthropomorphic
kittens.
Like, cats or dogs or lizards and just kind of stuff like that.
It's more of a world building kind of place rather than the original.
Well, I think they're kind of different styles of world building. Like this one is like, in the first one, they kind of like definitely wrote it by the seat of their pants.
Oh,
but
for
at the same time, it still like makes a good. First off, it sets it off well that the Thunderians are the Thundercats. Ho are the aliens in this, and they're coming to this new place, and they're kind of just learning the ropes of this new world.
Whereas in this series, they know the ropes, and they're kind of the kingdom that rules all, basically.
Yeah, they're kind of they hold homogeny over Third Earth.
And Lion-O's a teenager.
Yeah.
And I prefer that more than Lion-O being a child and then growing up into an adult, like literally within 20 minutes. I mean, honestly, it's not that right, like true, but it seems like that when you watch it. You see him grow up like immediately.
He does, but at the same time, it still has the whole hero's journey thing that I think, in any case, help mitigates it. But in any case, but within the first two episodes of both of these, they do both series do a good job establishing the setting. The first one has kind of more of a pulp adventure, dust 'em up, type, something that's a bit more lighthearted and adventure-y, and kind of has an anything can happen setting. The other one has a bit more of a grounded, established technology and magic, and it's kind of a mythology thing.
There's way more of a kind of, I wouldn't say it's like more story to it. I would say like it seems like there's, where you say there is like kind of a world building in the first series, it seems like it's more on a grander scale. And what I read in some articles is that the original was more like a Saturday night cartoon, and this one was way more epic and way more of like a movie. You can definitely tell that Lionel's just like this young prince trying to figure out what it means to be the Lord of the Thundercats.
And it kind of means it for both of those.
Yes.
One of the interesting things I think is that in the reboot, Lionel's not a child, but he's sort of immature compared to the rest of his culture. He believes in technology, which everyone says isn't real, which I kind of thought was weird. But because then all of a sudden technology is everywhere.
Especially when you look at, they do episodes in the reboot where they go to the past and it's literally all technology.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell happened between that and now?
And then they kind of go into it. But
yeah. And it's confusing a little bit.
As opposed to the original, where technology and magic are both kind of just around as is. They're kind of like just two things that either side uses.
And when it comes to like the characters that are the difference between the original and the reboot is that sometimes the characters in the original seem a little bland, except for Panthro. You got me there. But in the new reboot, they're like way more defined characters. Like Tigra in the original is just like...
Tigra in the original is pretty boring. Like one of the lead writers of the original show thought he was boring, and that's why he gets less and less about him as the show goes on.
He's just kind of like that right-hand man that doesn't really...
I think they never really could figure out what to do with Tigra, because he has the invisibility thing, which he doesn't really only uses once.
You only really think about him with his whip.
Also, yes,
that's the only thing.
And then in one of the one of the trials episodes for the original, the anointment episodes, they show he has like mental powers.
Mm-hmm.
That he never really used,
and even in the show they were
strain.
Yeah,
and I think it's more the fact that they needed to make an extra character, but they didn't quite know what to do with him.
They're like, we need a tiger
because like
we have a cheetah, we have a panther, we have kittens,
we have a lion,
we need a freaking tiger.
We have whatever Jaga is.
Yeah, what is Jaga?
I think he's like a cat man. He's just more man looking
he's just
than
a cat man.
He's the Obi-Wan.
But in the reboot, what was cool is that Tigra has way more of an important role. He's the stepbrother of Lionel.
Yeah.
And he's like the prince, but he's not the rightful heir to the throne, and he's always compared to like, he should be the king. He's way better than Lionel is. And it really adds a dimension. He's way more cocky. He has this kind of like smooth talking attitude, always tries to get the butt of the joke, and he's also kind of that calming force in it, trying to help Lionel along the way too, which I really liked in the reboot. Katara is kind of the same.
Yeah, she's a more of a love interest for Tigra in the reboot than in the remake. And she has like a whole thing about her being a monk. In the original, she's more of this cool aunt, which is I almost kind of prefer. Like she has like this kind of cool confidence to her.
She's extremely flirty in the reboot.
Yeah.
Especially to Lionel too.
Well, I think after a certain point it solidifies more on Tigra, and that fits more because it seems less weird.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Lionel in the reboot's kind of a jerk. Or he's just kind of abrasive, and it makes more sense for her to be in.
He's way more angsty than he should be.
Yeah. And when we say more angsty than he should be, we don't mean compared to original Lionel. We mean just like
he's just angsty.
more than he probably should be given his circumstances.
Yeah, because in the original, he's like childish, but
he's confident. He's even a little self-aware. Like he recognizes that, I can be a little cocky, but I think I've got this.
Some of my favorite lines of Lionel in the original is when his attitude comes out. He's like, I don't want to fight you. This is stupid. He just says that.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's like hard not to. That is definitely a good, and we need to like probably talk about the anointment versus the trials, but
Yeah.
There's like a weird his challenge does show up, but as like a cool, not as a cool, as more like a questioning of the way his culture is.
And what was cool about the reboot, obviously the characters having a little more of a personality. Like Kit and Kat, they aren't like just a brother-sister duo that just are like the cool kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're less, in the remake, they're a bit more like children.
Yeah, they're way more childish. And it's not like
And they have more distinguished personalities.
Yeah, and they're thieves in this one.
They have
And
more of a arc of their own.
And
Honestly, I think it was one of the highlights of the reboot.
Oh, I love
watching them
them in the
around,
reboot.
and their voice actors are really good.
Oh, fantastic. And Snarf, come on.
Yeah, okay,
let's talk about
talk
Snarf.
We gotta
Let's
talk
just
about
get it.
Snarf.
Let's get it.
Honestly, he was way less annoying than I was expecting.
I think
Like
a lot of the
I was expecting to be like banging my head against my desk, not wanting to be around. But he's just like, he's kind of grating.
Now,
but
he is annoying.
yes,
However, he makes a lot of good points.
he does.
He is the voice of reason that no one wants to listen to in the original.
The problem is that he's just really neurotic.
He's just like, you shouldn't do that, Lion-O. And the lion's just like, stop that. Snarf, Snarf, Snarf. Shut up, Snarf, Snarf. Fuck you, Snarf. Damn it.
That's one.
Do I should
That's one.
Okay. Snarf is not as nearly as bad as like the recollection we got before watching this. Now, we forgot to mention this from the beginning. We never watched Thundercats at all until now.
Yeah, we went in blind.
So, I mean, I kind of remember distinctly watching like a few episodes if it was on, but I didn't I watched this religiously like I did with like DuckTales or like Goof Troop or any of the Disney Afternoon when I was little.
Yeah.
It was Thundercats. I knew its popularity, but I was just like, whatever.
Yeah, and you listen to a bunch of people talk about it, and you just think like Snarf is like Scrappy Doo levels of annoying.
God, but he's
not. He's like,
but
he's like a
also
little
that
annoying,
could be like
his character is a little annoying, but it's not like gratingly so, and they're not trying to make him like the cool character. Like even
he's not
like
supposed to be the cool character. That's the point.
yeah, or
of
like
him.
a especially funny character. Like even the other Thundercats Ho get irritated with him.
Serious, like for no reason. I find Starscream from the original Transformers way more annoying than Snarf.
Yeah, that's fair. And then Snarf in the reboot. Going to that real quick.
It's just a pet.
He's like a cat.
He's like a pet cat of Lionel's.
That's like, he's like, kind of sentient, but he doesn't talk. He just like makes he makes
a
like
lot of good points without saying anything.
He talks like a dog talks. Exactly. Except like the Snarfs are less distinguishable.
Yeah.
Now supposedly there's like a way bigger deal about him that was supposed to happen in later, almost not made seasons for the reboot.
Oh.
Yeah, there's like a whole thing about him being indestructible and like
What the hell?
like it's one of those things where like it turns out Snarf was important all along.
Well, I think he actually did a lot for the reboot.
Yeah, he's all right. He's like good.
He was the voice of reason, but he couldn't even voice the reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when Kit Kat and Kid
Wily Kit and
Wily
Cat.
Kit and Wily Cat, sorry.
The Wileys.
For some reason I'm getting the Wileys when they joined the raccoon guy, which I forget his name, sorry. Took it, yes. When they joined Took It, and
that's a
they're
great name, by the way.
And they yeah. And they start stealing all the stuff. Snarf trying to tell them that you shouldn't steal.
He's like, come
but
on,
they
guys.
can't understand.
Because he can't talk.
I thought that was good. What do you think about Panthro, the differences? Because Panthro is kind of a highlight in the original.
Yeah, Panthro is just like, imagine Lando Calrissian, but he builds all of the vehicles and stuff, and he knows kung fu and he uses nunchucks.
And he's badass.
And he's incredibly badass. I'm trying to find his
and this one,
voice
he's
actor.
kind of badass.
Yeah, he's pretty badass. He's a bit more. He has a bit more of an edge. He's kind of grumpier.
He looks. Who's the mechanic guy in Cowboy Bebop? He looks exactly like that guy.
Jet. Yeah, I definitely got a Jet vibe looking
For
at.
sure.
Like I don't think they're the same voice actor.
He's voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson.
Yeah, I don't think that was.
That's not Jet. Jet's totally different.
So yeah, let's talk about voice stuff real quick.
Yeah, sure.
The thing about the original Thundercats is that for the first season they only had 6 voice actors. Not leading voice actors. The total cast for the whole 6 people.
Actors.
6 people. They had Larry Kenney, who was Lion-O, but he was also Jackalman. They had Earl Heyman, who was Panthro, and he played like a couple of other characters, but because of his very distinct baritone, he couldn't really be other guest characters. Earl Hammond, who was Mamra, Jaga, and the Bear Bulls somehow. Peter Newman, who was Tigra, Wily Cat, Monkeyan. Lane, I think it's Lane Lipton. I'm probably wrong on that. Please don't get mad.
It's okay.
Voices basically every female character in the first season.
I see.
And it kind of shows like there's some struggle with her trying to make distinguished voices, but good for her for trying to pull off something that seems really difficult even by back then standards. And then Bob McFadden, who was Slythe, Snarth, and actually most of the rest of the guest characters. They added in 2 more voice actors for the later seasons when they added in more of the Thundercats ho, and I guess we're just not doing it anymore.
No, I just keep forgetting because you say it so quickly.
Yeah, I just kind of sneak it in there.
Thundercats ho.
So yeah, the voice acting in the original gets a little uneven, but I think that honestly, when the voice acting is good in the original, it's really, really good.
For sure. And what the main difference is that the new Thundercats, the 2011 reboot, it's like such a stacked cast. You got Will Freddy, you got Matt Mercer, you got Kevin Michael Richardson, you got who else you got? You got the 2 young actors that played Wily Kid and Wily Cat, Madeline Hall and Ermin Peruccello. Mm-hmm. They were fantastic. Snarf was voiced by Satomi Korogi.
Yeah, she had like a Japanese voice actress.
Which was hilarious. But all the other voice actors, you got like D. Bradley Baker in there. You got Clancy Brown, Michael McKean, Pamela Addion. You got Jim Cummings, Kevin Michael Richardson, of course, and then Corey Burton, the voice of Jaga.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, they had a really good
the voice of my childhood, for sure. He has the most distinct voice out of all of them, and every time he speaks, it's like putting butter on toast, man. He's fantastic, and you kind of have to commend the original show for just having 6 voice actors.
Doing a ton and doing a bunch of very different voices with just 6 people.
You just got to give it to them in that way, because I feel like it's way more impressive to only have 6 cast members voice an entire show rather than we have all this budget and we're going to get all these people to be in it.
Yeah.
So you got to commend them there.
And I think in a lot of ways, I think some of the voices in the original work better.
Yeah. Because sometimes, I don't know, when I hear Panthro in the new one, you just hear Kevin Michael Richardson. And he has that deep voice. And it works for him, but you kind of just hear that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, it gets in the way.
A
little bit. Now, when it comes to tone for this show.
Yeah,
it's completely different.
Definitely.
Like I said earlier, Saturday morning cartoon is the original, but there's a lot of good morals in it. They try to make sure that it's kind of like that cheesy, like, this is the moral of the story at the end. And then they all laugh at Snarf. Ha 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 ha.
It's, I think there's definitely like a very old school earnestness to it.
Very true.
Even like a lot of shows nowadays can't replicate.
It's really hard to do now.
The original is definitely unabashedly itself, and I think that's something that's really commendable about it.
It's kind of really hard to do that nowadays because you kind of think of like when South Park does those messages at the end. I was like, I learned this, and then they make a joke out of it.
Yeah.
Whereas in the 80s and like 90s, they tried to make the morals just like hit home, like as hard as they could.
Because these were pitched to kids, and
Yes.
kids back then weren't as
crazy as they are now,
or as media literate,
for sure. But the new one was way more mature, had way more intertwining storylines woven together, way more mature themes, death, like slavery, caste system. It was crazy.
Speciesism.
It was, sometimes it got in the way of like enjoying it a little bit.
Yeah, it got kind of, one of my big criticisms of the remake is that it got, all that kind of dark stuff got really grating. I think sometimes it mistakens just like darkness for maturity.
For sure.
And it makes it a little like, okay, great, you're doing this now. And it makes it kind of hard to care about what's going on in the show.
But for the first season, you kind of have to establish that and then hope for in the next coming seasons that they would stray away from it and try to build from it. So I kind of understand why they went that route to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. All right, let's talk bad guys, because
Mumra.
Yes.
They kind of acted the same between the both of them.
Oh, I thought they acted totally different.
Well,
like I thought it was like night and day compared to them.
Well, which one did you like more?
Oh, the originals. So like not even a little bit.
You don't even like what they did with the reboot?
I honestly got really, my heart like kind of sank a little bit every time one of the quote bad guys showed up. But every time I saw one of the bad guys in the original, I was like, oh yeah, hijinks are about to happen.
Yeah.
So I think it's a few different things. I think that Mumra, the original bad guy, this like
mummy,
he's just like, which first off, you think it's weird that cats are fighting a mummy, but it makes sense kind of early on when they crash and there's like this weird dark pyramid in the middle of nowhere that the mutants, the evil alien guys just randomly find, and they go into it and there's like this creepy dark atmosphere, and they keep going forth, and then this sarcophagus opens up and you hear this super old school horror audio drama voice coming in provided by Earl Hammond, and it's just like, okay, I'm invested, like this is gonna get good. And honestly, Earl Hammond's voice really solidifies he must have been having a blast in the booth voicing this guy, because it's just,
you just hear the passion.
It's just such entertainment listening to him just talk in Mumra's voice.
Voice acting in the original, especially with Mumra, you kind of hear him excited about it, and like he was Mumra. And as much as the reboot voice actor who is Robin Atkin Downs. Wait, that sounds...
It's like hyphenated voice, maybe?
No, Robin Atkin Downs. He's an English actor.
Okay.
He's done a lot of stuff. A lot of voiceover work. But, like, you just can't beat the original. And I admit that in a way. But, like, I have to commend the new voice actor for just trying. Cause
he tries.
It's a tough task.
Yeah. I really like the mutants in the old one. They're kind of like this weird, like these like they're definitely friends, but they kind of like those friends that are like kind of aggressive and butt heads a lot.
They're like the Three Stooges of bad guys,
but kind of evil, and they're like a lot of fun to just watch do their thing.
They just crap on each other constantly,
but at the same time, they're also like have meals together, and you know that you gotta like definitely hang out.
Oh, they hang out missions. After work.
Yeah,
they get a beer after work when they fail. They're like, crap. Ooh, what do we do? Ooh. But I don't know. For me, I just enjoyed the reboot a little bit when it came to the villains, because it had more of a story to it, and it kind of made sense more of how Mumra got this evilness to him and why he's so obsessed with it. Whereas in the original, you kind of see why he wants to take down the Thundercats, but it's not like totally motivated in a way.
He definitely has like less clear motivations, but I thought that worked for the type of character they were going for. The older Thundercats definitely has this very pulp adventure, Conan the Barbarian, old school sword and sorcery kind of feel to it, in that there's just kind of this world that's stuffed with all this weird stuff. And including in that is this like old school kind of undead, mysterious sorcerer who's honestly kind of cryptic. And yeah, he's kind of goofy when you hear him, but he definitely like has the juice to back up what he can do. And it's, I think that for me, it fits in a bit better than Mum-Ra in the original, who's kind of this intergalactic conqueror. That's kind of his whole thing.
Yeah.
And I also think it's weird that he has like that Mum-Ra mobile. Like that just like he just carts around in a
I don't
in a
understand
vehicle
why
shaped
he
like
needed
his
that.
face.
Yeah, I don't know why he needed that, because he could fly.
Yeah. I mean, he
just
can't go out in the sun.
He
when
must
he's in his
just have a
form,
budget or something. Just be like, I'm freaking Mum-Ra.
He's like, I'm old. I'm taking the car.
Make
it's
sure
just
it
like
has
such
the
a
hood on, so I don't die.
But then they also then play him like totally straight menacing villain, and having him have this like goofy car kind of undercuts that.
There's a lot of goofiness in the 80s.
No, I'm talking about the reboot.
Oh,
Yeah, in the reboot he has the car.
but
In the old one, he like mostly stays in the pyramid because he has to protect that like source of that pool of power that he has.
But I guess
'Cause
he
he
got used to like flying in space and stuff, and he needs like something like kind of more like a big spectacle of I'm the bad guy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Entering in with an evil vehicle, trying to look as menacing as possible. I think that was kind of the vibe they were going for in this one.
Mm.
The animation, 9-day, for sure.
Yeah, the other one's a bit smoother. The reboot's definitely a bit smoother, but honestly, I think the original one's animation wise really holds up. At least certainly compared to its contemporaries.
Yes. And then Reboots kind of reminds me of more of a Avatar: The Last Airbender kind of animation. It kind of finding style and everything to it.
This was definitely a predecessor to Voltron.
For sure.
Voltron Legend Defender, I should say.
You know, after watching the reboot, I'm kind of surprised that Netflix didn't decide, hey, we want to continue the show.
Well, this was probably a little early for Netflix. Like this.
Well, I know, but I mean, like, I'm
2011,
talking about,
I
like,
think-
currently.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that they didn't decide not to pick it up again.
Especially
since they solidly had material for more seasons.
Yeah. It doesn't really seem like a lot of people are clamoring for it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think people like it now more in hindsight, and
Yeah.
certainly like with the swath of kind of more mature-oriented series based off of 80s cartoons, and especially in comparison with the Thundercats. It's called Go, right? Or Ho? Or are they just calling it Ho? I don't. The like Teen Titans Go looking Thundercats that they're putting out soon.
They are?
You didn't hear about this?
No, I did not.
Okay, yeah. So they're
Is this like Teen Titans Go, but it's Thundercats Ho? That would be bullshit. No, don't do that.
They announced this like last year. How did you not hear about this?
I guess I didn't care.
Yeah, I mean,
Or-
I didn't care either. A guy that I watch on YouTube covered it,
What?
and I like half listened after coming home from a camping trip.
Well, also, when I hear stuff like that, like, you know, when they announced, oh, we're rebooting Animaniacs. Like, okay. Cool.
Yeah, you kind of need to see the actual concepts before you can get into it with something.
For sure. But let's just talk about overall how we felt about both of them. Because for us, this was our first time watching it. For the reboot, I really liked the continuous story, kind of flowing narrative that a lot of cartoons are trying to do now with reboots and stuff. But some of the character direction, you are right, it is a little annoying to see Lion-O just too angsty for me.
Yeah, he's just too like growly all the time. It's like
He's always pissed
lighten
off.
up, man.
And the original, it's when you watch it, you just remember the good old days. You know
it's
what
very
I mean?
it's very optimistic, like refreshingly optimistic. Like, it's definitely not for everyone, but it's definitely like not something they make anymore.
But I think like for the reboot, it was definitely a cartoon made for the times it was currently in. People
And
like
they were
moody crap.
and they were definitely like, I think, trying to do something similar with Avatar: Last Airbender. And this was like it was definitely like a stone that needed to be set down for them to start making the really good shows that they have today.
Yeah. And I kind of wish there was a second season of the reboot.
Yeah, I think just giving them the shot to conclude what they had would have been nice.
Like Cartoon Network should have thrown them more than, of a bone. You know what I mean?
So they,
Especially with how they ended the reboot. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like a cliffhanger, but it's like there's still more to be done.
I think, yeah. Let's talk about real quick. Let's talk about the Trials of Lion-O / the Anointment of Lion-O, and kind of how both of these first seasons end, because they have a very similar kind of finish. But I think that the original series, I think, had a bit more of a solid conclusion. Lion-O does this whole 5-episode arc where he has to contest with the other Thundercats and demonstrate that he can be a good leader among them, kind of by beating them at their own qualities, but also kind of showing his own capacity for leadership at the same time.
And so in the original, it shows how he has to be tested each time. He doesn't want to fight his friends, but he's supposed to, because that's how every king of Thundera had to do it.
Yeah.
And you kind of saw the impact that it had on Lion-O. He learned from each thing, and he got better and better, and he took everything that he learned into the final task, which was taking on Mum-Ra in order to become truly the king of the Thundercats.
Head, no sort of omens.
He didn't even have the sword, the claw. He just went in guns a-blazing by himself. Nothing to help, and he took down Mum-Ra. And in the reboot, they kind of did the same thing, but so, spoiler alert, Lion-O dies, but he wants to get back to the living, and so Jaga, spiritual advisor Jaga, comes to him, and he's like, you can live, but you have to sacrifice something, and there's not really much you can sacrifice since you're freaking dead. And Lion-O's like, there's got to be something I could do. Well, you do these trials, and he goes through each trial, and it's not like
they're like condensed versions of the original.
They're like
ones.
really fast, and it's not where the original each Thundercat had a specific trait. These are more just like try to stop us,
Yeah, try to
and outwit us.
Yeah.
And it worked in some ways, but in the original, it just kicked so much ass. Just to see
it
him.
really nailed it in the first one, and then both kind of end. Both that and like the end of the season, the reboot. Both of them end with Lion-O kind of in front of all of the new friends that they've made on Third Earth. Kind of solidifies themselves as the Lord of the Thundercats, and I felt like in the original one, like if the original one had made that the season finale, the first one, or even the series finale, it would have nailed it. I think with the
reboot, they were
one,
trying to make it seem like there's more to do, but like you see all these people are behind you, you're making a difference. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
and that's what I really liked about the reboot, because the whole time you understand why he's so on edge. It's because he's trying to live up to what his father was, and he saw his father die. And the whole time he's just like, this is what he would do. And then at the very end, when it seems like all is lost, I mean, Wily Kit is like, look at all these people.
Yeah, you got people supporting you in this, man. This is what all that you've done right now.
And it ends.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But overall, Thundercats, first watching it, I really liked it.
Yeah.
Like both iterations, even though the reboot had some flaws, I think it added so much more world aspect wise, and like adding way more mature themes to it. Sometimes I just want to watch a really good mature kids cartoon, and Wily Kit and Wily Cat added the childlike wonder that you get when you watch the reboot. And with the reboot, it just reminds you of waking up on Saturday in the morning, turning on the TV and watching cartoons. That's what I really liked about both of them. I don't know if I'd like continue to watch them, but like I don't know if after this episode I'm gonna put on Thundercats again, but I might.
There's one episode in the reboot that I want to watch, but mostly because Jeffrey Combs is in it.
Gotcha.
But I actually kind of do, at least until I take the DVDs back to the library, I kind of want to watch a couple more of the other ones because they're just very easy watching.
It's simple.
I think I found my like equivalent to Futurama or The Office or whatever other shows people just kind of put on in the background while they're doing stuff.
Yeah, and especially since Thundercats has so many seasons as it is, so it'd be easy to just fix that up.
So yeah, I guess final thoughts. The original, good Saturday cartoon, pretty optimistic, earnest storytelling that they don't quite make anymore, and definitely worth checking out and definitely holds up.
And the reboot is definitely what was happening in modern cartoons back in the early 2010s, the early aughts, and that trying to make everything mature as possible, trying to make everything gritty and have way more weight to it than it should have, but it still works, and it still works today. So if I were to choose between the original and the reboot, personally, I would tend to go towards the reboot. But I think you kind of convinced me that the original just has that like charm to it that you want to continue watching, and that's why it lasted so long.
Yeah.
But if Cartoon Network gave the reboot more of a chance, then we might have a different opinion. But Thundercats reboot and retro, they were both solid.
Both, yeah, good shows all around.
So let's go to Rando Hall of Fame.
Yeah, buddy.
I'll start with my pick. For the Rando Hall of Fame, I'm going to give it... This isn't going to be a cop-out. This is just something I found. I'm going to give it to the Kawhi Leonard laugh. Now, you probably don't know what this is. It's sports-related.
Enlighten me.
So, Kawhi Leonard is currently the small forward of the Toronto Raptors. He used to be on the San Antonio Spurs, and he got traded to the Raptors last season. He's very quiet. He's a very quiet guy, not really of a personality, but he did this one interview after a game when he was in Toronto this year, and he had the weirdest laugh in the world. It was like, and it became a meme. And then today, because the Toronto Raptors won the NBA Finals, and they went to Toronto to have the parade, he did the laugh, like he just like made it as a joke, and he's like, "Thank you, enjoy it while it lasts." And he was like, ha 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 ha, and then everyone like freaked out. So if you look it up, it's hilarious. Kawhi Leonard laugh. What do you got?
So E3 was the last weekend, and there was one really big news in particular. Even if you weren't into video games, you probably saw this. It was the Cyberpunk 2077, and now showing that they're part of the show. And at the very end of the trailer they put out, this guy comes down. He says, "Get the fuck up, samurai. We've got a city to burn."
And it's Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, it is. And then Keanu Reeves comes out on stage, and it is probably the best pop I have seen at an best genuine excitement I have seen at an E3 ever. It's fantastic. He's like, there's a guy going, "You're beautiful," and then Keanu's like, "No, you're beautiful."
No, he's like, no.
It was
breathtaking. Like, this game is breathtaking. And then someone's like, "You're breathtaking." And he's like, "No, you're breathtaking.
You're all breathtaking."
Oh my god!
And then he showed the release date. It was really good. Mr. Reeves is having a really good year this year,
dude.
So I got to give the Rambo Hall of Fame to Keanu Reeves.
Do you know that they offered the person who said "you're breathtaking" an early copy of Cyberpunk 2077? I mean,
and then he wanted,
and he said no.
Yeah, he wanted them to give the money or like the worth of it in money to charity. Yeah, good for that guy.
Dude, and today I watched a video that PewDiePie did on Keanu Reeves because he's just generally fascinated about him, and he gave like 6 reasons why Keanu is like the best, and it's really good. So I'll put the link in the description, but I think, screw my pick. Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves having a really good year, man.
You are the official, because last week I didn't really pull what was going to be in the Rando Hall of Fame, but Keanu Reeves is our official first Hall Hall of Fame inductee.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Keanu. We love you.
Good man.
And that's the end of the podcast. The end of the podcast. This was the episode on Retro versus Reboot on the Thundercats. We hope you liked it. Definitely check us out. Definitely check out the first episode, Final Space Y. What are we going to do in the next episode, Parker?
We're going to have a little talent creator VO spotlight on a Mr. H. John Benjamin.
It's going to be exciting. He's one of my favorites.
He's
for
so
sure.
good.
It's going to be great. We really appreciate everyone who's listened to the podcast so far. Definitely check us out. If you're listening to us, you know how you're listening to us. We're going to try and continue the momentum we're going. We really love this. We just love talking about animation. And give us as much criticism as you can, because we're trying to make this as amazing as possible. Thank you so much for listening to us. Parker, you got any words?
I hope y'all are enjoying the Amphibia premiere.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't really talk as much in this podcast compared to the previous.
I mean, we talked like slightly less.
Yeah, but
I mean, we're shooting for shorter time.
Yeah, but thank you so much for listening to us. Parker, I love you, buddy.
I love you too, man.
Good night.